you know, the communist era started in full. The factory would be a lot of
slogans.
Slogans. We finished. We fulfilled our plan 125%, or something like that, you know. And of course, I knew that was all rubbish. A lot of stuff we produced was not very good quality. Yes, anyhow. So I was not happy with that at all. So I had to make a decision what to do. Either comply and be quiet, or at least certainly not to be outspoken, be quiet and accept things as, you know, or even I could join Communist Party. I had good credentials for that. My father was a blue-collar worker. I had two lifelong communist uncles, who, you know, so no problem. But anyhow, I didn't join Communist Party, and so I had to decide. Well, I decided that I will leave the country, but the question was how. Now, during the war, I used to swim in the river Morava and swim across, and that was then Austria, which was occupied then by Germany. So I thought I could do that, you know. I thought I could do that, but somehow I lost my confidence in that. And when I think about all these things, I was very, very naive about these things. That I went in very bad way about things, you know, how to find out about people who are taking people across the border, and what happens. You know, I didn't know one thing, you know, what happens after when you cross the border, whether I didn't know about any organization there. So I was very, very unprepared and very naive. So when eventually in the factory where we were working, we had a group of about 10 men who were being trained as future foremen for our new factory, railway factory. And I found out that one of I was giving them, you know, teaching them the things. You know, found out that one of these men used to work on Danube barges. I thought, you know, if I could hide on barge and get to Vienna, you know, that would be a good way to get out, you know. So after a bit of hesitation, I carefully approached this man, asking him about that, whether there would be any chance like that. He could see that he was a bit frightened, you know. But anyhow, he said eventually that he put me to somebody who could take me across, not on barge, but in other way. And so I agreed to that. And when there was date, you know, for me to come to that place in Bratislava, the guard would take me across the border. But as I said, I was very, very naive then. Even, you know, how I was outfitted to go. The one good thing was that on my feet, good boots, you know, strong boots. That was good. But then the rest, I was dressed like a suit, you know, not very sort of practical for rough conditions. So anyhow, yes, and at first, actually, at first I was told that upon that we couldn't go because there were more guards on the border for whatever reason. So it was postponed for I don't know how many days. And then on appointment day, I went to address in Petržalka, which is a suburb of Bratislava on other side of Danube. And I went to this house in the evening, and there was this young man waiting for me. I don't know how old he was, maybe 25 or something like that, a well-built man, and he was going to take me across. Well, I gave him 30,000 crowns, which was about five months' salary of my, as payment, and then this man asked me many questions, you know. He asked me what I'm going to do when I get on the other side, what I would do if they try to catch us. I said I'm going to run, and he pulled out big knife, big what do you call it, you know, like hunting knife. And he said he's going to use that. I said I don't want any violence, but anyhow, that was that. I was a bit uneasy then, of course, but I couldn't. It was too late to stop, to say, hey, I'm not going. Yeah, so later in the evening, he said, all right, let's go. And again, you know, I had suitcase, which was so unpractical. Now, of course, I would have a rucksack, you know. Suitcase, imagine suitcase escaping, crossing the border. No, that's ridiculous. Anyhow, I carried my suitcase, and it was about 11 o'clock or half past midnight, and through Petržalka Street. And there, at one stage, there was a man on the other side of the street, and my guard stopped, told me to wait, and he went and talked to that man, and was all a bit suspicious about that. Anyhow, then he came back and he said, oh, he took my suitcase, he said he will carry it, and he said to me, you follow me all the way till so you just see me, you know, in ahead of me. And then we came to a railway level crossing. He went over the level crossing and disappeared from my sight. I followed him, but as I crossed the railway line, about 5 men jumped out from the bushes, shouted, hands up, hands up. So I put my hands up, they searched me, and they asked me such silly question, what I am doing there. I said I'm going for a walk. Silly answer. Anyhow, then they said, where is that man who was with you? I said, well, you should know, he was ahead of me. Anyhow, and there was shooting. You could hear far from automatic weapons, you know. And they said, oh, we got him. But I don't think so. I'm sure he was one of them, you know. So then they took me to guardhouse or whatever it was nearby, put me in a small room. I was sitting there on the bench, but all by myself. But later more people were put there who were also caught, you know. And during night then I could hear they were interrogating all those people. There were women with children, and I could hear cries and screaming. You know, I thought, oh, what are they going to do to me when they take me out? Anyhow, my turn came. It was already early morning, and I think they were waiting for some higher position person from Bratislava police headquarters to interview me. So that would happen after that, and ask me a lot of questions, you know. Then they put us into police car, they call it Black Maria, you know, transporting prisoners. They took us to police headquarters in Bratislava, Dunajská street, and there one by one we were interrogated again, and eventually they took me and put me in a cell. I don't remember the number of the cell, and when I entered the cell, there was a small room, something like this kitchen, and the man there said, "Oh, another Kopechkar," which means that another person trying to cross the border. I think they judged it from my boots on the yes, and it was so crowded there was no room for all men lying down on the floor around the wall. So I lay down there also, where I squeezed one place, and a man next to me whispered to me, "Don't talk, there are spies here." So that was my first lesson in police prison. And then in this cell, as I said, it was very crowded, no room, just and we were called frequently for interrogation, whether it was night or day, men, and yes, it went on and on. I don't remember